Good evening. I'd like to call the Village Board meeting for the Village of Cary for Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 to order with the roll call, please. Well, before we do that, all these new processes. We do have a quorum of Village Board members in physical attendance at the meeting tonight. However, as authorized by the Illinois Open Meetings Act, Village Board members Cavelli, Kraus, and Weinhammer will be participating remotely as their attendance at this time is not practical or prudent due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Roll call, please.
Betts.
Here.
Collier. Here. Cavelli.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Weinhammer.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the pledges of allegiance? And then after the pledge of allegiance, if we could please remain standing for a moment of silence for Mayor John Schmidt of Algonquin, who passed away very suddenly last week. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we go to the open forum, I just want to just kind of pay a little bit of a tribute to a dear friend, John Schmidt, who was a very welcoming colleague and fellow mayor from Algonquin from the moment I began as mayor in 2013. He was instrumental in being a mentor as well as other mayors on there. John was also a great advocate for McHenry County. Not only did he include the Village of Cary and his heart of Algonquin in all his decisions, but he was very community oriented. It wasn't just about Algonquin, it was about the entire county. And he helped spearhead a lot of the huge projects that have kept McHenry County going with major infrastructure and roadways like Route 14 from Crystal Lake to Woodstock, the 4-lane, the Algonquin bypass, the Long Meadow Parkway. He was instrumental in helping us achieve some of our projects too. So he will be very sorely missed. I had the distinct pleasure of being with him Wednesday. We had our McCog executive session, our strategic planning session for the next year. And we had a great 4 hours all together, and a lot of laughs, a lot of great topics talked, and he had a lot of great vision. So when he passed away very suddenly that following Saturday, it was quite a shock to all of us. So I want to send out our prayers and our thoughts to his wife Cheryl and his daughters and grandchildren. So thank you very much. Now I'd like to go to open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I have two people that signed in. Aaron Spitzer, did you want to address the board? Are you here? Are you just here casually observing?
Kind of both.
Okay. Did you have any comments that you signed in? Did you want to talk to the village board about anything?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
If you can come up and state your name and address at the microphone.
Sure. Aaron Spitzer, address is 429 High Road. So thanks. We just moved to Cary. Love everything that you guys are doing. We have a garden in the back and was wondering about the fencing protocol. Fencing and whatnot. So we have deer that often bet in our backyard, and it sounds like there's a restriction on chicken wire. I didn't know that. And so building a fence myself, that seemed to be the cheapest and most secure option. I don't know if there's something to be said about that.
What I could do for you is, I'm not prepared to answer that for you right now. I can put you in touch with our community development director, and he can answer the questions and point you in the right direction is what you need to do according to what our current codes and ordinance allow for.
Okay.
He's very accommodating, so I have your name and phone number. I'll have staff. You can expect a phone call from Brian Simmons.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to talk to our community development department?
John Finch is who
Yes.
I've been talking with most recently, and I asked him about the chicken fire as well, and he didn't really have a good answer. He just said it's code. And I'm like, but why is it code? You know, like, so I guess that was one thing, like just figuring out how to do what we're trying to do the most cost effective and most secure way possible.
Okay.
And then the second thing was we just adopted 2 puppies, and so I wanted to build a dog run on the side of the house. Understanding how to do that properly and what exactly a dog run is. I was kind of advised to Google it, but if I Google it and it's not really up to code for Cary, you know, kind of a catch-22, Google something and it's not code for the township, am I really up to code? You know, so just making sure that I understand exactly what I'm doing before I do it. I want to make sure that I'm adhering to your code and standards and stuff like that. But
Sure.
So-
We'd be happy to have some more conversations with you, but
Sure.
as our staff said, we do have some ordinances in town that kind of dictate how development, physical development is to occur within the municipality. There is the opportunity to ask for variances in certain cases, but we'll follow up with you here, Aaron.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Anything else from you? No? Thank you.
Welcome to town. Glad you're liking it.
I have one item on the mayor's report. I have a proclamation for Schools Open Safety Week. It is what it is with the recent development. I'll just go ahead, and this was planned, so I'll just go ahead and read this anyway, although they're going to be doing schools remotely, but this, hopefully they'll come back sooner than later. Open School Safety Week, August 24th through 28th, 2020, whereas children in our community are beginning a new school year, and whereas students will be walking or biking to school in neighborhoods, on sidewalks and streets, approaching or waiting at school, bus stops, and boarding or alighting from buses. And whereas motorists can help protect children by being especially careful in their schools and in residential areas, watching their speed, observing traffic control devices, and obeying the Village of Cary crossing guards. And whereas I encourage motorists to review they apply to school zones and school buses. Now, therefore, I, Mark Kownick, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim August 24th through August 28th, 2020 as Schools Open Safety Week in the Village of Cary, and encourage all drivers to remember schools open and drive carefully. Sincere appreciation is expressed to all Village of Cary crossing guards for their committed public service. Dated this 4th day of August, 2020. If I do the consent agenda, we do have amended minutes to include the verbiage of who's physically here and who is called in. That will be incorporated in all minutes moving forward. So we do have that as amended. No other content has been adjusted on that for the consent. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 5 as shown on the village's website and displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Collier,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
and Betts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get caught up again here. And moving to items for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve an employee leasing agreement between the Village of Cary and GovTemp USA Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Jake, you taking this?
Yep. Mayor Village Board, before you is an agreement with GovTemps for employee leasing. I think the Village Board is aware we currently have a vacancy in their police records supervisor position. We have taken somewhat of a conservative approach, like we always do, but probably more so now with the COVID-19 pandemic here before filling full-time positions. So we've had numerous conversations internally. We do think the best approach for the village is to proceed with an employee leasing agreement with GovTemps. We've reached out to GovTemps. They're able to identify a candidate that would work for the village. Police staff had a conversation with this candidate. It's going to work for both parties. It would be approximately 17 hours a week. The individual would be supervised by DC Nadenoff. We feel this is a good way to backfill the hours that we are missing with the records supervisor.
Yeah, and I was going to also add, most importantly, that this individual has experience with the computer-aided dispatch and records management systems that we currently use because this individual is employed in a police department that also is part of our McHenry County Emergency Telephone Systems Board. So I think it'll be a good fit as a temporary arrangement to fill in some gaps until we determine how we can go forward as it relates to our record staffing.
Are there any comments or questions from the village board?
I think it makes a lot of sense.
No comments or anything? Roll call, please.
Cavelli?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Weinhammer?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
And Collier?
Yes. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution awarding the 2020 sidewalk connections construction to Turkey Construction Incorporated, West Chicago, Illinois, and authorizing the village administrator to execute a contract in the amount not to exceed $146,199, and authorizes the village administrator to approve a 10% contingency for unforeseen changes in the scope for a maximum budget of $160,818.
So moved.
Second.
Eric, are you going to take this?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. As the board may recall, the village applied for a grant with the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, also known as DCEO, towards the construction of filling in some gaps in our existing sidewalk network in the center of town. There are a couple locations that were identified, and through the grant 2020, the grant agreement was approved between the village and the state in the amount of $148,000. Since then, we have gone to bid for the project, and through that process, Trinity Construction out of, get my notes here.
West Chicago.
Out of West Chicago, Illinois, was the lowest responsive bidder. The screen before you is the scope of the projects that we'll be moving forward with based on that scope. We have a section on Ann Street, Oriole Trail, and Frankie Avenue.
Just as a matter of comment, Jake, Eric, and I spent some considerable time going through all these areas just to see how this is going to impact existing residents and structures or whatever. And I am absolutely blown away at how well that we'll be able to accommodate all the residents. Our biggest concern was losing a couple of these big trees in one of the particular homes, but actually the resident is quite relieved that they're going to be coming down because they're dying anyway. So this is something we've been working on in the village for so many years to make all these different areas walkable, fill all these sidewalk gaps, and this is going to be a great addition to these areas. So it'll be nice to see all the continuation of the sidewalks in there. So it's a great project for the village of Cary. And thank you, Eric, for everything you did to get this thing done.
Sure. And if I may, just quickly summarize the numbers here for you as well. The project and the grant agreement, which was based on estimates obviously determined prior to the pandemic back in 2019, but luckily the bidding environment wasn't too terribly altered, but the prices did come in slightly higher than the estimated amounts. So right now we had estimated that the total project would be $148,000. That included $20,000 for the engineering services that were involved to prepare for the project, which left $128,000 for construction in the budget. As you can see, the low bid was $146,199. So if you add in that $20,000 that we've already spent with the engineering contract, that brings the project total to a little over $166,000. So the difference from our grant agreement, which is the difference being about $18,000, actually will still be covered within our capital fund. We're planning to defer our asphalt rejuvenation program, which was about $35,000 in the budget. That actually won't affect the performance and the impacts it does have in pavement preservation. So we'll apply that to Three Oaks in a subsequent year, but still within the recommended tolerances for that product. So we do have the room in the budget with that deferral of the work for this slight overage here and any contingencies.
Any comments from the village board?
The grant's guaranteed at $128,000 now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, no comments then? A roll call, please?
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Betts,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Cavelli.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving to administrators report, Jake?
Mayor, Village Board, I just wanted to update you on the Park District and their process here for the rezoning and approvals, entitlements for the Cary Grove Park. They will be going before the zoning board on August 13th, and we anticipate that being before the village board then in our first September meeting. So obviously, that's a great project for the community. I think there's a lot of people that are looking forward to that taking place here, and so we anticipate them getting their entitlements as long as it's approved by this body here within the next couple of weeks. That's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you. Department head reports, Chief Finland?
Sure. Just two things. First, August 15th, the Police Commission will be holding our written test at Cary Grove High School for entry-level patrol officer. And the second thing is I received the letter of, I guess, retirement, I was going to say resignation, from Officer Tim Kelly, a 29-year veteran of the department that's assigned to patrol. So we'll be exploring options as it relates to the vacancy that's left by Officer Kelly.
Thank you, Chief. Director Morimoto, do you have anything else for us?
Yes, just one quick update on the construction front. Some of you may have seen that work at well number 10, which is over in Fox Trail subdivision, has begun. The improvements to replace that treatment plant and the well itself are well underway. And right now we're currently in the midst of the demolition phase. So you can see it from the photo on the screen. We've had a pretty dramatic change in the scenery out there. Excavation has begun. The building is being removed, and then you can see there the rendering of what the final structure will ultimately look like. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any future agenda items and discussion by the village board? None said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Forgot about that. Okay, McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Betts,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned. We will boot up in just a minute once we get the